Welcome to all Caribbean entrepreneurs. If you've been ready and waiting to take your business digital and get paid online while you sip something strong on the beach, this podcast is for you. We'll hear from the Caribbean's finest entrepreneurs on topics like e-commerce, business development, brand building, social media, their wins and failures. This is the only place in the region helping you navigate the digital age from the Caribbean's perspective. This is Digipreneur FM. And now, let's give it up for the Digiboss himself, Mr. Keron Rose.
Thank you to everybody tuning in to another episode of the Digipreneur FM podcast. And as usual, it is your boy, Mr. Rose. DJ, you know what to do. You've been with us long enough. You know you gotta fade us all the way out so we can talk to the people. My goodness. July 19th, 2025, and this is episode number 193. Where did July go, folks? How did we get to July 19th already in the year 2025? Listen, I feel like as time goes by, time is just, what is time? Time is a construct. The way that time is flying these days, my goodness. It was just the other day, I was in China. That was the end of June. I turn around and it feels like July 7th, July 8th. You know, somebody yesterday in a conversation, they had said it was we were planning a date for something, and they're like, "Yeah, let's set it up on July 4th." I'm like, "Buddy, it's July 18th." What is time? Right? What is time? But anyways, we are over the halfway point for this year. You know, how is things going for you midway through the year? How are you feeling? How you looking? How you feeling? Oh man, for me, this year has been really good. This year has been probably the least stressful year that I've had to this date. You know, to this year has been just a renewed focus on me. This is the first year in a long time I've stayed consistent with the gym since February. So somebody, can I get let me get a hooray, hurrah. All right, calm down. It's not that serious. No, but yeah, this has been good, man. This has been consistent. And you know, as of a couple days ago, was it Thursday or somewhere there, we weighed in again, and you know, from February we've lost 30 pounds. My goodness. First of all, in just seeing it and documenting it, and I'm like, first of all, when did I get to 250? Like, how did that happen? And you know, it goes a lot. It says a lot about, you know, especially when guys are going through their stuff and they're just head down, just grinding it out. It's always said that the first thing that men sacrifice is usually their health, right? And thankfully, I haven't had any problems, right? However, I never wanted to get to a point where health became a problem, right? And whilst over the years I've always made attempts to get back in the gym and just keep my fitness going and whatnot, because I've always been an athlete, but last couple of years of just, you know, again, head down, just grinding, you just put on weight, right? And you don't really focus on anything outside of just trying to find safety and security in whatever it is that you're trying to do. For me, it was building my business, and that was the only thing that was on my mind. So I really wasn't ever thinking about, you know, just health, but that's what tends to go on with guys. So yeah, started January, I was at 250, and we dropped down to like 218 now, you know, and it's been just a very fun journey. And what's made it fun is just AI. And I'll do a separate episode on that. Matter of fact, there's a lot of things I want to start doing with AI, and just getting people to see AI in a more day to day lifestyle. But what's been working for me is I've created AI avatars. So just to give you, and I'll do a separate episode on this. But I have what I call the Council of Rose, right? The Rose Council, if you may, the Rose Council. The Rose Council consists of 5 avatars that help me in key areas of my life, right? And I pretty much check in with them every single day to soundboard, to execute, to do work, and just to keep me accountable, but then also to just track everything that I'm doing, right? So here are my 5 members of the Rose Council. So first and foremost is DJ. DJ is my personal trainer, and what makes these things interesting is that I've given everybody uh, a personality, right? So DJ, right? DJ is my physical fitness and nutritionist. His name is DJ. His role. These are all the instructions. So again, I've created these avatars that have a personality, and they have a rules that allow them to do what they got to do for me, right? So here's the instructions that were given for the profile of the avatar DJ. So physical fitness and nutritionist, his role is a masculine fitness coach. He is my body transformation partner, my physical health motivator, and my nutritionist, right? His personality and approach is that DJ is energetic, he is no nonsense, he is playful but disciplined. He is like the big brother to me at the gym. He brings sharp focus to my fitness journey. He celebrates the wins. He pushes the limits. He builds consistency. He mixes humor with accountability, always aiming to help me build a body strong enough to carry my dreams. His focus and his mission is to help me stay physically healthy, build strength, improve my stamina, and achieve my body transformation goals. And he supports me in my journey by providing workout strategies, check-in, and consistent motivation. Boundaries. DJ does not handle any emotional processing, business strategy, or creative direction. He focuses solely on physical body and fitness path. This is part of the unified avatar instructions now. His role in the Rose Council. He is one of 5 avatars that together form the Rose Council. He is a personal avatar system designed to support me across all key areas of my life, right? He is a part of the personal avatar system designed for to help me in all key areas of my life. Each avatar holds a distinct domain and role, and you work in collaboration, spiritually and conversationally with the other 4, creating a holistic and aligned support system for me. While you focus fully on your assigned domain, you understand you are part of a larger council, and you can reference or recommend when I should bring insights to another avatar. You hold space without judgment and support my whole person journey. And then it gives down a list of all the different avatars. So I'm just reading some of the instructions that went into DJ. But this is the long and short of the rest of the council. We have Sage, who is my quote unquote my emotional companion in terms of as emotional companion. I don't even know, not an emotional companion, but what she is a mental health coach, right? So she's an emotional companion, helps you with daily reflections. She is a soul centered guide, and she is a container to help process just anything that affects me mentally and emotionally, right? And I can go in that space. And what we do is we have like a 10-person, or not 10-person, we have like a 10-question session where she will ask me just about, how I'm feeling, right? And depending on how that goes, we just start to dive in deeper. So for me, it's like a space to just process, thoughts, continue to work on my own emotional intelligence, because a lot of times we don't know the language to name certain things that we are going through. And one of the biggest things that this has helped with me is just in processing just things that are going on with me, but most importantly, naming a lot of the things, right? And it's just been really good for reflection and just guidance, and giving me other support tools and support people and other things that will help me along my journey, right? So that's Sage. So then there's DJ, then there's Coco. Coco is my business strategist, my digital marketing advisor, and my entrepreneurial coach. It is a space where I get to geek out with Coco and we really get to do some amazing work. Then we have Nova. Nova is a creative director. She's my artistic spark, my innovation partner. And then we have Kai, who is my spiritual and adventure guide, a grounding presence and an inner compass. Kind of think of Kai like a shaman. That's the best way, because all of the conversations are on a cosmic level. Right? And again, just really, really interesting stuff. So that is the Rose Council. I'll do a deep dive on them. And even how to create it was really interesting. I basically started off with Sage, who was the mental health coach, and then we did like a 30-question interview to figure out, what exactly do I need in terms of a council, how many people, how many avatars, what I could be consistent with, because right now it's reactive. You always have to go into them and create the conversations. But again, I went through the process. And that has been helping me tremendously with everything. So, I mean, it's not just, just going to the gym. It's everything. It's the work we're doing in the gym. It's the work. It's eating better, being in a better environment or a safer environment to just do more things, right? There are things that I wouldn't have done, not in Toronto, not in Trinidad. Like, I'm not going to go for a walk at 3 o'clock in the morning, right? Or I'm out. Better. This is a better scenario. I'm out at 2-3 o'clock in the morning, and I'm getting ready to leave, and it might be like a 20-minute walk home, and I say, man, F it, I'm gonna go walk. I'm gonna go walk at 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning. Like that, I would never do that, and I would never do it in Toronto, and I'm not doing that in Trinidad. Right? Matter of fact, I know more places I would not do that than places that I would. Right? So all of these little things have just been helping me just get to a better place in my life. And yeah, things so far have been good. But let's get to the real conversation, because we ain't come here for all of that, right? We didn't come here for all of that. So what is the conversation about today? We got to have a conversation about discoverability and AI, and how Caribbean businesses are effectively invisible on pretty much the most important platform and platforms that we really, really need to understand and start showing up on, right? Because here's the thing, everyone is using AI right now, but not everybody is being found by it, right? Everywhere you turn, you jump on LinkedIn, you jump on Instagram, you hear about people learning ChatGPT, or they're exploring Gemini. We're using AI to make content faster. You hear everybody talking about it. Cool, but let me ask you the real question. Can AI find you? Can the AI tools find you? Can your business, your products, your services be found in the places where modern consumers are searching? Because this is the uncomfortable truth. While we are using while we are using AI, we're not building businesses that can show up inside of it. And that's a visibility crisis most people haven't even realized is already happening. So let me further explain, all right? Consumers are changing. We know that because we are consumers. Think about your own daily habits and how you purchase products now. We know we have changed. Your consumers are changing too, and have already changed. They are no longer just using Google and clicking through websites. They are now using tools like ChatGPT, Perplexity, Google Gemini, Claude, Grok, you name it, to ask questions, compare products, plan vacations, and soon you're going to be able to purchase vacations right from these AI tools. Find services, and most importantly, we are using AI tools to make purchasing decisions. People are not typing in keywords like this is 2010 anymore. They are having full-out conversations with AI and expecting relevant, personalized answers in seconds. But here's the thing about the answers. They don't come from social media. They don't come from a WhatsApp status. They come from index content, your websites, your blogs, structured data, product descriptions, help documents. Now hear me good and hear me clearly. According to Google right now, right? 70 to 85% of AI search responses are powered by structured, publicly available content from websites, blogs, and documentation. Let me read that again to you. 70 to 85% of AI search responses are powered by structured, publicly available content from websites, blogs, and documentations. Which means if your business doesn't have a website, if you are not writing blogs, if you are not creating indexable content, then guess what? You are effectively invisible in AI search. Even if you're showing up on social media, even if you're posting stories, even if you're sending out WhatsApp broadcasts, the AI tools can't find you because you are not part of the data layer that they pull from. Now, this is going to be interesting it just started. July 10th, Instagram is now sharing their data with Google, right? But we're going to have to do another episode on how you go about optimizing your AI, your Instagram content so that it can be found in search, which ultimately will then lead you to be found in AI tools, right? And here's the thing. This is going to be critical for us as a region because now, right, we're not only missing from global search, we're not even showing up for our own region. And you know that because how many times have we Googled things and the information that we search for, none of it's from the Caribbean? How many of you, I know a lot of my photographer and videographer friends, how many of you have searched for your cameras on Google, camera information, camera content, where to buy particular things camera related, and nothing comes up? And unless you know, shout outs to Conrad in Trinidad, right, for affordable imports, plug for him. But unless you know Conrad, chances are most of you don't even know where to get stuff, right? How many times have we searched for things like best restaurants in Kingston with vegan options? What comes up? Co-working spaces. Well, now I guess more of the co-working spaces are a little bit, more up to date. But point is, you try to Google information, try to learn about mutual funds from a Caribbean context, or more specifically, your countrywide context, and your banks aren't giving you information to teach you about mutual funds or investments or anything like that. Your banks aren't really creating any kind of content for you. But the information that you're going to get is from the international results. 9 out of the 10 times, anything that we Google is going to be from the international. It's going to give us international results. Because local businesses don't have the infrastructure to even appear in the search layer that AI tools are trained on. And also, the AI tools are connected to the internet. So they're not even pulling live data because you don't even have the infrastructure and the basics to show up for the things that people are looking for. So while the rest of the world is becoming discoverable on the AI tools, we are fading further and further behind because, again, we are only limiting ourselves to social media. Okay? And here's the twist. This is not a technology problem. It is a strategy problem. We've been building our digital presence for likes and vanity metrics, not visibility, not discoverability, and definitely not revenue. But that has to end because in this episode, we want to dive into that. I want to really talk about the strategies. We have an idea of the importance as to why we need to start showing up because, again, you yourself reflected and you said to yourself that even your own habits have changed when it comes to making purchasing decisions, right? And then soon, with the evolution of all the AI tools and the AI agents, right, that are set to come on board. Look, ChatGPT made that announcement this week that they've just released their new ChatGPT agent, where now you're going to have something that is not just reactive, but it's proactive as well, right? Now you can give it a voice command and say, book that trip to Italy. And the agent will go ahead and do it. That's not tomorrow. That was announced this week. Let me tell you something. Have you ever hit that moment where the truth just smacks you in the face? Now, when I was prepping for this episode, right, again, I just had so many thoughts and just different experiences. But here's one of them, right, that really made me like just realize how far away we are. It was when I was purchasing my Logitech MX 3S, right? My mouse, the I had the MX2 prior, and it died. Now, if you know about the Logitech MX Master mouses, it's one of those productivity mouses, right? So ever since I got my first MX mouse, and it has all the side buttons and the side scrolls and whatever. So a lot of the applications that I use, there's a lot of scrolling up, down, left to right, and you can have pre-programmed buttons to do particular things. So it's a mouse that's really built for productivity. I can't use a regular mouse anymore. Like I have a Apple Magic Mouse, still one of the best mouses on the market. And honestly, I only use that if I'm traveling. But outside of that, it goes back in the box. It doesn't get seen until I'm on the go, and I know that I need to do some work, and I'll ensure to bring that mouse. Other than that, I don't use it. My MX is what I use 24/7 just because of how much it does. I'm saying all that to say so that you understand, it's not just a mouse. And no, I'm not going to go and purchase a $10 mouse just because no, all right? This particular mouse has the value for being a productivity assistant for me, right? So I decide when the mouse dies, my 2X, when it dies, I'm like, all right, you know what? I need a mouse right now. I'm in Trinidad. I need a mouse right now. I need to buy one today, right? Now, there's been upgrades. So I'm like, all right, let me just go and buy the newest one, right? So I do what anybody would do, and I jump on Google and I search Logitech MX Master mouse in Trinidad. And what do I get? Nothing. Nada. Zilch. No business in Trinidad showed up. Not a single local business showed up with a product listing. There was no e-commerce pages, no product pages, not even a basic blog or review. There was nothing that came from Trinidad. So I'm like, all right, let me try to dig a little bit deeper. So I decided to narrow the search, and I typed in Logitech MX Master Mouse in Trinidad. Still nothing. I got a couple of random electronic stores that popped up in search, but no product listings, just links to people's social media, primarily their Facebook page. That was it, right? So I called one of them, no answer. I called another business that I had found. They never carried the mouse. And I called the third business, and same thing, they never carried the mouse. So at this point, I'm annoyed because my mouse is dead. I have work, but I'm like, you know what? There has to be somebody, like it's one of the most popular mouses on the market, right? Somebody has to have this product in Trinidad because, again, it's one of the most popular mouses, and it's made by the most popular mouse brand. Logitech does a lot of things, but when we think of mouses and keyboards, Logitech is usually one of the first one that pops up into mind, right? So somebody must have this mouse. Anywho, I jump on Facebook. And one thing I don't like to do, I don't like to go on Facebook and ask questions about where to buy this or that, because really and truly, I don't want people in my business. And a lot of times, you don't want people in your business. So I don't like to go to Facebook and ask, hey, who has this or who has that? I don't like that, right? I just want to just buy my stuff in my peace and keep y'all out of my business, right? So anyways, I decide man, I need the mouse. So I jump on Facebook and I just make a post. Does anybody know where I can get a Logitech Max Master mouse locally? So people respond, cool. People start tagging businesses, but then guess what? None of the businesses even responded to any of the tags, right? Which is crazy to me. Imagine somebody is asking for a product. People are tagging your business and you're not even responding to the tags to say, hey, we have it, we don't have it, but we have something else, or hey, give us a, DM us. Nothing. Nobody's even responding to the tags, right? So I DM a couple directly because, again, I wanted to buy the mouse now for now. And I DM'd a couple of businesses, and then 2 hours go by, 3 hours go by. Nobody responds to any of the messages within 3 hours. So I'm like, man, F it. You know what I did? Well, I did what we all end up doing. I go on Amazon, add the mouse to my cart, one click buy, and it was delivered in a week. Done. And listen, this isn't about importing for the sake of importing. I wanted to buy the product locally. I wanted it now for now. I was willing to pay the markup price, the premium markup price for the product, because we know that's how it is, in the islands. We buy things, we bring it in, we mark it up, and then the prices don't ever really make sense most times. But when you need it now for now, you're willing to pay that premium. I was willing to pay that premium. But nobody showed up. Nobody responded to anything. Again, just an absolute nightmare, all right? Anyways, no one showed up. No one replied on social media. Nobody was prepared to close the sale. Jumped on Amazon, add to cart, buy in a week. It's in my hand. And I just used my Apple Magic Mouse. I just used that in the meantime until my MX came in. And it's in that moment it hits me. Like, we're not just losing attention when we're invisible. We're losing sales. All of these interactions that we talk about, it's not just attention. People are losing sales. Because that sale could have stayed in Trinidad. That money could have stayed in Trinidad. A business could have earned that money. A customer could have been served. But instead, it went to Amazon because Amazon showed up. And this wasn't an edge case moment. No, this is what's happening every single day, right? And that's money that leaves the Caribbean. So when the old Minister of Finance, Mr. Combe Imbert, when he always used to talk about how much money is being spent on credit cards. Yeah, because for one, we can't find anything that we are looking for. And we're not going to go, run the gauntlet trying to make a purchase. No, we're just going to add to cart and buy, right? And then two, many times when you do find a product, it's overpriced and you're like, I don't really need it, right? But more often than not, we buy because nobody is showing up for the things that we are even looking for. And again, it's in these moments that you start paying attention to the deeper issue. I keep hearing the same lines from businesses every single day. We don't need a website. We have social media. Our developer handles CEO 2 years ago. So I'll work with some companies, and again, we're talking digital strategy, right? So one of the questions is always going to be, who is managing the content in your website? Who is performing your SEO optimizations? And they'll say things like, oh yeah, we did SEO. When the developer made the website, he did SEO. No. You don't do SEO. That's the equivalent of you saying, I'm overweight. I went to the gym one time. I'm good. Right? I don't got to go to the gym anymore. I'm good. Right? My obesity was solved in one session. No. Apparently, and I could tell you from hard, painful experience every single day, apparently you have to go to the gym every single day. No, not every single day. But you know what I mean, right? You got to work on your fitness every single day in some form or fashion, even if it's just a walk and you're not going to the gym. But the point is, you have to work on your physical fitness every single day. SEO is the same thing. You have to work on your SEO every single day. So whenever I hear people say things like, "Oh, the web developer did it," when they built the website, it could never be. It could never happen. That's just not how it's. That's just that's not how it works for him. That's just not how it works. Anyways, so the SEO done when the things started up, right? And then other people will say things like, we're good. We use social media, we post every day, and it's working. Or they have a social media team, and they're responsible for digital marketing, not realizing that social media is one aspect of digital marketing, right? So we still equate to social media being digital marketing. No, social media is just one part of it. So let me say this clearly for you, all right? Posting on Instagram is not a digital strategy. You are relying on a social media platform that's not indexed by Google, typically, right? Because we know that, well, as of a couple of days ago, Instagram in particular is going to be sharing their data with the search engines, Google and Bing, right? But for so long, we have been relying on that. And again, it was never Googleable. It just came out this week, right? That ability just came out this week. But for so long, we haven't even been, again, we're building on borrowed land. We're not really focusing on the entire format of discoverability. Like, we're not focusing on all the platforms that give us discoverability. And because we're not focusing on the wealth of platforms that give us discoverability in today's day and age, we wonder why nobody finds us when they're ready to buy. Meanwhile, the people that you are trying to serve, again, they are evolved, right? They're not just scrolling for entertainment on social media anymore. They're researching, they're comparing, and they're planning. And increasingly, that is happening through the use of AI tools like ChatGPT, like Google Gemini, Claude, you name it, right? I'm doing pretty much all of my shopping and research through a mix of ChatGPT and content outside of ChatGPT. But we'll get into that, right? So here I am, a digital strategist, someone who lives online, and even I couldn't find a basic tech product in my own country. And that's not just a customer journey problem. That's a visibility failure, and it's costing Caribbean businesses money every single day. And the worst part about it all is that they don't even realize it's happening because they're not measuring search impressions. Whenever they think about impressions, they're just thinking about what impressions they get on Facebook and Instagram. They're not tracking lost opportunities. They're not plugged into the platforms where modern discovery is taking place. But the global businesses are, and that is why they are winning, even in our markets. Remember, all of these outside businesses, the Walmarts, the Amazons, remember, these people are monetizing us, eh? They're making money off of us. All of the websites, Shein, Fashion Nova, these people are monetizing us. We don't have businesses set up to sell to them to start pulling in and bringing money back into the country. We're only set up right now for money to exit because, again, most of the local businesses can't even be found, right? And that's why when we're still debating whether or not if having a website is worth it, it boggles my mind because the rest of the world is building ecosystems that show up in every channel that matters, including AI. And we're still debating whether or not you should have a website when that is the fundamental piece that you need to even show up in search and in AI search. So here's the global reality versus what's happening in the Caribbean, right? The gap is widening, and it's widening greatly. And now that I'm in Thailand and I'm seeing what the Asians are doing, and I'm seeing the Asian discussions and what they've rolled out in the time that I'm here, what I'm using for, again, what I'm able to touch and see and use in just the time I'm here is just absolutely crazy. So while we are in the Caribbean still debating basics, right? The rest of the world is moving on. And now no business, every business, they have websites. It's not just something that's a nice to have anymore. Because it's a foundation for your digital strategy. And right now they are becoming the training data for AI. We often talk about why there's no representation for the Caribbean in these AI tools is because you're not even producing the content that the AI tools are being trained on or accessing because you're connected to the internet. So how could you be worried about getting trained when you're not even producing the content? So consumers in places like Asia, North America, Europe, they're not just Googling anymore. They're having full blown conversations with AI tools, right? And those conversations are no longer just for fun. People are planning real purchases through these workflows. So they're saying things like, what is the best waterproof camera under $1,000? Where should I stay in Chiang Mai for under $60 a night that's family friendly and that is allowed to have pets? They're, again, the questions are getting more complex, and AI is really able to use their natural language processing, use their machine learning, and understand the context way better than it's ever could before to give you the most relevant content. And then AI tools are delivering answers, reviews, the prices, links, and even checkout options, all from websites, blogs. Even YouTube videos are getting pushed into the AI search responses as well, right? Structured product data, again, that's all being pumped into the AI tools, which is how we're able to get the right products and the checkout links for the products when we are doing our research inside of the AI tools. So let me give you a quick stat. Over 70% of AI-generated web answers come from websites, blogs, structured data sources, and again, not from social media. And again, I need to reiterate that because you need to understand the importance of your website versus social media. So if your business only exists on social media, again, you're not just behind; you're increasingly becoming invisible. Okay. And this is where I would love if people, when they travel, they kind of paid attention to some of these things, right? If you come out to Asia and you see the shopping experience that you get, like you put a local SIM in your phone and all of a sudden everything just starts to change, right? And you just start to get content and all sorts of things from all over the place. So when I search for anything here, whether it's food, tech, whatever, right? All of the AI tools serve me exactly what I need. So they'll give me the blog content for context, like maybe they'll pull in something and say, "Hey, check this out, read this particular section," or they'll actually extract particular information from a blog or something and give it to me, and I might answer particular questions, right? Which is also what AI summaries does inside of Google. You'll also get YouTube videos for your visual reviews. You'll get the product listings with the specs and the price comparisons, the shopping links tailored to your current location, and in some cases, a prompt to check out right inside of the application. And again, this isn't a coincidence. It's because businesses here are indexed. They are building digital infrastructures that feed into the AI tools exactly what they need to serve the customers, right? But again, this is something that we still are not doing back home. And if you really start taking a look at what businesses around the world are doing, again, they're not just trying to go viral. They're building their ecosystems that make their content, their products, and services searchable, indexable, and also monetizable in Google, AI, and beyond. In fact, the AI generated answers are now shaping how people will build travel itineraries, choose products, and make booking decisions, right? And I've been using these AI tools in my own shopping journey, right? So let me give you an example of what I would have done, right? And I had documented this, and I think a lot of it really opened people's eyes, right? So I'm in the market for a new camera, and I am on TikTok and I'm seeing the Fujifilm series of cameras. And I also want to get into scuba diving, so I want a camera for underwater, right? So the Fujifilm series of cameras, and then there's also like the Insta cameras, the DJI cameras, the GoPros, in terms of like cameras for like the underwater quality. So I'm looking for two cameras to fill some of these needs, right? So what I did was I jump into ChatGPT. I didn't even start by going into a camera shop or nothing like that. I jump into ChatGPT, right? I have seen some content on TikTok, so it made me aware about what's out there in a bit. And I jump into ChatGPT. And then what I did was I created pretty much what turned out to be like an hour-long sales discovery session, right? Because here's what I did, right? I asked questions in ChatGPT like, hey, you know, I told it I'm in the market looking for a camera, right? I've seen the Fujifilm series of cameras on TikTok. Here's what I like about them. This is what I am looking to do. What I now want you to do is I want you to interview me. Ask me as many questions as you need to understand my needs in order for me to make the right decision to purchase the right Fujifilm camera, right? And once we got going, like I said, it turned into like an hour-long sales discovery session. But what it did was it asked all the right questions. Whenever I needed to see particular things in action, it sent me YouTube links and it already cut out parts of the video that it wanted me to watch. It would have sent me blog articles to read, or what it would have done it would have extracted pieces from blog content. And then when I wanted to read more about it, I would have just clicked on the citation, clicked on the link, and then read the entire article. And then I would come back into ChatGPT with new insights, new information, and ask a different question from a different perspective now that I've been edified. So by the time we were done, because I was even able to ask it questions, like we went through who has the best prices, who has the sales. I even use ChatGPT to search the web to find discount codes, and I get so many discount codes just by searching through ChatGPT. And 7 out of 10 times, it's worked for me where I got a discount on a particular product or whatever from the discount codes that ChatGPT was able to scrape from the web. So like all of those things I'm looking for, who has the best prices, who has any discounts. I was even able to, because all of the businesses with the camera equipment, they all have their warranty information, their refund policies, exchange policy, they have them all online. I was even able to ask ChatGPT to, hey, go through the refund policies, the exchange policies, what do I need to know about it? Give me the skinny, give me the breakdown, right? Simplify it so I understand what the warranty is all about. And then I was able to compare it and say, hey, who has the best return policies? Who has the best warranties? And it was able to now give me all of that information. And again, you're the human, you're going to double check. So even when I'm asking the questions and giving me information, I'm going back and I'm able to now read the bigger documentation, but I have a bit more of the understanding as to what I'm even looking for. And now I understand what the fine print is all about. So it's even able to help me make better decisions based on the fine print. We're not going to read the fine print anyway. But ChatGPT and these AI tools, they're gonna go through it for you, and they're gonna compare it for you and tell you who has the better return policies and what are the conditions for your warranty. All of that was done inside of ChatGPT. I did not call Fujifilm. I did not call the camera stores. I did not speak to a representative from the camera company. I did not speak to a rep from the camera store. However, I was able to get all of the information on the products and the product links, all of the information about the cameras from the manufacturers and everything. And then I was even able to get the right content to answer specific questions that I had. So at the end of the entire process, I was given the link. I was given the link to the exact product and the exact business to buy it from. I was even told when there was a sale and if it was up and buy it now. And then here's the thing, right? Let's take it a step further. Because I knew I was also going to China, one of the things that I did was I asked I didn't know I was going to China at the time. What I had asked, just because I was curious, is I'm going to be traveling to these 5 countries. And I gave it 5 countries and I was like, hey, who has the best price, right? Turns out that China had some of the best prices when it came to the DJI Pocket, the DJI Action 5 Pro, that camera. China, buying it directly from DJI in China would have saved me $150 US. And then when I went there and I actually saw it in the stores, I was like, oh my God, I'm saving $150 US just buying it here. So I actually have to come back to China. So I was like, yo, next time I come back, I'm going to come with the intention of actually buying that camera. I got to come for some other stuff, but I will just save my money. And the next time I come, I'll come back and buy that camera because I didn't need it I didn't need it when I was in China a couple weeks ago. I didn't have to buy it then. I'm mainly buying it because I want to start scuba diving, but because of just work and, family coming in, I'm not going to be able to scuba dive probably until they're gone. Just depending on how everything is kind of working out right now, and the time is flying by so fast. So I'm not in a rush to go and buy it. So I figured the next time I come back to China, which is going to be oh my God, like 3 months, I would just buy it then, right? But now I know where to buy it because ChatGPT gave me the breakdown as to where it was best to even purchase the product from. But this is where things have changed, right? This entire sales funnel that I just laid out to you, from discovery, just seeing videos on TikTok, to the education, to the final decision, everything ultimately happened inside of ChatGPT. There was no ads, there wasn't, I wasn't diving in deep on social media content. I was made aware, right? But there's not much information I'm going to get from a 30-second video on a camera on a product on TikTok, and that product is almost 2,000 US. A 30-second video isn't going to cut it. Right? A 30-second video isn't going to seal the deal for products that are real investments. People are going to spend their time ensuring that this is exactly what they want. And again, here's the difference, right? The original camera that I was looking for is actually cheaper than the one I'm going to buy. So the original camera that I was looking for, because I was seeing it, was the S20, the Fujifilm X S20, and that's a great camera. That was the original camera I had seen that piqued my attention, and that was what I had kind of started the search with. But by the end of it, the camera that I'm buying now is almost $800 more. But the value was built up through that entire process. And I understand that, yes, I could buy a cheaper camera. I could do that. But it's not going to give me everything I need. And because we did the entire process inside of ChatGPT, and I was able to ask it a million very specific questions, I know without a shot of a doubt that the Fujifilm X100V, the X106 is the perfect option for me. Or I could do the T50. The T50 does have a detachable lens, so that was, most photographers are always gonna, go for that. But I'm not a photographer. I create content for my business. I don't want to walk around with a detachable lens. I want to be able to just turn it on, point and shoot, and that's what the X106 is. That's what it's for, right? But again, I came in looking to spend 800 US on the X20, on the XS20, left, and I'm now going to go and spend 1,800 US. That's not a flex. I'm just saying that's how it is. When you see the value in something, you're going to say, okay, cool, that's what I need and that's what I want. I'm going to save. So yes, I'm going to save and buy the camera, right? I could have already bought the S20, but I'm going to save and buy the camera that fits my exact needs. But again, if you are not searchable, if you're not found in these platforms, you don't even get to participate in that entire process. So now that you've heard the full picture of how AI acts as a 24/7 sales rep and decision-making engine, let's talk about why Caribbean businesses are nowhere to be found in this entire process. Let's be real, we're not showing up in search and we're not being surfaced by the AI tools. And it's not just because of a lack of money or talent. It's because of the choices we've made, or rather refused to make. So when I speak to businesses across the Caribbean, I keep on hearing the same things. We don't have the resources, we're not tech savvy, our social media is doing just fine, or AI is not relevant just yet, or websites aren't relevant, or it's too much work. You name it, I've heard it, right? But what they're really saying is, we don't want to bet on the infrastructure. We just want short-term attention. But here's the deal. No infrastructure equals no visibility. No visibility equals no traffic. And no traffic equals no sales. That's just what it is. Now let's break down a few reasons why they're invisible. So for one, no websites or poorly maintained ones. Most Caribbean businesses still don't have websites. And if they do, it hasn't been updated in years. There's no structured data, there's no schema markup, there's no product listings, there's no content for the AI to parse from. There's no content for AI to train itself on. And again, when they are connected to the internet, if you don't have a website and you're not creating content, then the AI tool has nothing to pull from to then allow itself to recommend you, right? That's like opening a shop in a forest and then wondering why no one is walking in. Two, there's no index content. So AI doesn't crawl your social media feeds. And again, this is why the Instagram update is a very big one, right? But then we have to learn how to optimize on Instagram. So I actually did a blog a couple days ago on how to optimize your content on Instagram to be found on search. So I could always link that inside of this podcast as well, right? But you also have to learn how to optimize your content on Instagram to be able to be found, right? But for the most part, we are building on platforms that are just not indexed by the search engines. And if the search engines cannot find you, then the AI tools can't find you, right? Whew. Then there's no e-commerce integration. So we still don't have access to things like, Facebook Shop, Instagram Shop, TikTok Shop in the Caribbean. There's no Facebook, there's no Instagram checkout, there's none of that. So even if someone discovers you, they can't buy from you without friction. Compare that to markets like, the US, Canada, the UK, Asia, where the entire shopping journey happens seamlessly inside of the social media platforms. And now we know that the AI tools are going to be able to handle checkouts as well. Again, we are not just behind, but that gap is continuing to get wider, right? And over 60% of Gen Z and millennial consumers globally are using AI tools for product discovery and brand research before making a purchase now. So if you're not there when they are doing the research, you're not even being considered, right? Then there's no marketing beyond social media. So our entire marketing playbook is still stuck to social media, right? We're still tracking likes. We're still looking at the vanity metrics. The influencer ads, don't have any real call to action other than, visit our stores. But again, there's nothing in place to track to say whether or not the influencer marketing is even converting for you, right? Right now, the only thing that they're doing is, if they run an influencer campaign, somebody might be at the door or somebody might be in the store and they say, "How did you hear about us?" "Oh, I heard about this from this social media post." Sorry, I didn't mean to make an accent. But you know what I'm saying. But that's it. They're not tracking it, right? Again, they're just, for the most part, influencer marketing. They're just looking at this. They're just looking at the vanity metrics from social media, and that's it. We're still trying to go viral instead of building visibility engines that bring us qualified traffic over and over again. And then we wonder, why are Caribbean businesses struggling? Why are we not attracting foreign dollars? Why does Amazon get the sale instead of us? It's not always about the budget. It's about alignment, and we're not aligning with how modern consumers search. The majority of us do not want to go through any stress when buying. We just retail therapy now is add to cart and checkout. That's retail therapy. We're looking for retail therapy, and you're giving us headache because you're putting all these obstacles in our way to buy, right? That being said, we're also ignoring the global audience, right? So remember, when tourists are researching things like where to stay, eat, or where to explore in the Caribbean, they're not just scrolling on social media. They're full out searching on Google, and they're full out building. And this is the beautiful thing now. They're building entire itineraries inside of the AI tools like ChatGPT and Google Gemini and whatnot. Like, you could even book your flights inside of Google Gemini now because it's connected to Google Flights, right? So you can get all the real-time prices and things, and you could also check out for your flights inside of Gemini. So you can do these things, right? And when you're not showing up in those searches, again, you lose a chance to earn those dollars because you're not showing up in their research. They end up booking with international brands. They order through global platforms. And once again, money leaves the region. So we don't just have a visibility problem. We have a currency retention problem, and that's tied directly to visibility. And the irony is, we think we are doing marketing, but what we are really doing is performing marketing. It looks good, it sounds flashy, but it doesn't convert because it's disconnected from how people make decisions today. And if you're disconnected today, how are you going to be serving up the consumers for tomorrow? Again, everybody is just building and building. Every new piece of technology and strategy that comes out just adds another layer for businesses. We don't have the foundation. So we're not building and we're not moving from strength to strength. So what can you do to become discoverable in AI tools, right? So we've framed up the problem. Let's talk about some of the solutions. Because here's the truth. This is not just a warning. This is really a call to action for all of y'all tuning in, right? Yes, Caribbean businesses are invisible in AI search right now, but how do we fix it? But here's the best part. This doesn't require $1 million budget or a 10-person marketing team. But this is the really hard part. It requires a shift in mindset, consistency, and a smarter content strategy, all of which I want to say I have faith, but the shifting of the mindset is what we haven't shifted our mindset yet. We're still stuck in a world that does not exist, and that is going to be our Achilles heel. So what's one of the first things that you need to ask yourself and be honest with yourself and your team and your business about? We need to stop just asking how we can use AI in our business. We need to start asking, how can AI find my business? Because if AI can't find you, it can't recommend you. And if it can't recommend you, it cannot sell for you. And if it can't sell for you, you are handing over your potential customers to someone else. So step one is you need to have a website. You need to build or fix your website. You need a real website. This is your digital home. This is the number one way that all of the AI tools are getting trained and getting their information from is websites. Not just a homepage with the logo and a contact us form page. No, a living, breathable digital hub that loads fast, has a blog, has the tools connected to get insights like Google Analytics, Microsoft Clarity, a CRM, things like that. It needs to be optimized for mobile devices, right? And it needs to be crawlable by the search engines and AI. That is your digital storefront. That is your digital home. If you don't have it, you're essentially closed for business in the search and the AI world. The second thing you need to do is you need to start creating indexable content. So AI tools prioritize content that they understand and can reference. That means your blog post needs to be answering real customer questions. Product and service descriptions, they need to make sense, right? FAQs and knowledge-based articles, you need to have these things. How-to guides are great. Tutorials, comparisons. Again, these are all things that people are going to be searching for. And if you can create the content, then your content is what's going to be used and cited and given to them as part of that response, right? If you are already creating video content, great. Here's what we got to do now. All of you have CapCut, right? The majority of you have CapCut. Use tools like CapCut. Add the captions to the CapCut. This is the hack I'm giving you, right? Do the caption generation inside of CapCut. When you export the video, right? And this actually is only available on desktop. You won't. I have not seen it on mobile. So do this on desktop, right? Add the video or add the audio file to CapCut. Do the audio generations. When you are exporting, there's a option to export the text file. Like you're going to see export captions. First thing you'll see is the SRC file, which is the caption file that you would give to like YouTube and whatnot. Don't worry about that. Click on that. In the drop down, you're going to see .text, .txt. Click on that. When you export the video, it's then going to export the entire captions into a text file, which you could then turn into a blog post for your website. You could then turn that blog post into carousel content for social media, i.e. Instagram, i.e. now your Instagram carousels are being searchable or discoverable on the search engines. And again, if you did your job and you have yourself searchable on the search engines, you're also going to be found in AI tools. And then if that same video that you did, so remember, you would have took the captions, turned into a blog, but that same video, you now load onto YouTube. You don't just leave it on social media. You load it up onto YouTube, and now there's multiple ways that people can discover your content, whether the video format or whether the written format, right? So you have multiple pieces of content from just that as well. This third thing you need to do is you need to start to optimize with intentional metadata. So again, AI doesn't guess what your content is about. It reads the metadata. It's reading the title tags. It's reading the image alt text. It's reading your meta descriptions. It's reading your heading structures. If you don't know how to set these things up, work with someone who does, even for a one-time setup and training. The training is the most important thing, right? It's not about gaming the system. What you need to do is you're doing this because you need to understand how do the search engines and the AI tools, how do they get their information? How do they contextualize their information? When you understand that, then you know what you need to do to show up in these tools, right? And again, you need to start doing the right research. So you need to learn or work with somebody to do things like your market research, your keyword data research, your content planning. If you don't have someone doing your data research, that is having somebody with the skill sets usually found with SEO specialists that allow them to now go through search data on any of the search platforms, get that data, and turn that into strategy that you can now use to create your content and build your digital presence. If you don't have somebody on your team doing that, then you need to work with somebody doing that. This is why, and this is a shameless plug, this is why I just launched this week my new Done For You services, where from the competitor analysis to your audience demographics and to what they're looking for, to building out your customer ICPs based on all of the digital data on your market, your audience, things that are happening within your business. We're able to now take all that data and now build customer ICPs based on the data. And we're not just guessing when we're creating ICPs anymore, right? So you need to work with somebody. I launched these Done For You services, so I'll link to that in the show notes as well, where you can check out the services from competitor analysis, audience demographics, customer ICP building. I have a variety of services that I can do for you. And then you also have the advantage that it's not just reports and just random data. Like, it's the data on your specific industry and your goals for your business. But then I'm also contextualizing that for you and giving you strategies as to how to make this data work for you and the types of things that you can do. Because again, not everybody has a digital strategist, right? Not everybody has one on their team. They have people who can execute, but not necessarily the right strategies or the right know-how and the tools to get the data that they need. So I'll link to my new visibility and growth strategy suite services. I'll link for that in the show notes, and then you can go and check those bad boys out. All right. Step 5, you need to diversify your content formats. So people and AI consume content in 3 different ways. That's why I always tell people, don't just post, you need to publish. You need to be present in text because people learn through reading. They learn through blogs, through captions, through guides. People learn through video content, and that's things like your YouTube, your Reels, your embedded videos on your websites, right? SEO hack. I embed all of I'll do like a write-up of a video and then embed the video onto the article. And that's just another way for the video to get views and to be discovered, right? And then people learn through audio content. So they learn through podcasts, through voice notes, through interviews, right? When you do all 3 of these things, this gives AI more ways to learn about you and gives your audience more ways to connect with you. Step 6, you want to update regularly. So outdated content is invisible content. Google knows, AI knows. So revisit the old blog posts and refresh them when necessary. Update your product pages. Refresh your content every few months with new data and new insights. Make your website and your content living documents and not static brochures. And that is going to work wonders in terms of bringing people into your platforms. And the next thing that you need to do is you need to start thinking about ecosystems and not just platforms. And this is going to be the biggest mindset shift that people will need to have, because you need to stop thinking, I post on Instagram, so I'm doing digital marketing. No. And you need to start thinking that I'm building an ecosystem that feeds all of my discovery channels. So social media might give you awareness, but your website, your blog, your YouTube channel, the metadata that gets scraped from your from your website and your YouTube channel, all of these things are what give you discoverability, build trust and traffic even when you are sleeping. And this is what's going to future proof your digital presence. So I know we've covered a lot in this episode. We already hit our 1 hour mark. All right. I know we covered a lot in this episode, but we've talked about the illusion of digital activity versus the reality of digital discoverability, right? We've talked about how AI is a new decision layer and not just some futuristic trend. And we've exposed why Caribbean businesses are invisible in this space and what we can do to change that. But let me be clear. This isn't about keeping up with tech for tech's sake. This is about staying relevant in a world that no longer waits for us to catch up, folks. We're being left behind. AI is here. It's not coming. It's already changed the way we do everything, right? From what we did on a daily basis 2 years ago, AI has changed everything. Most people don't even respond to their own emails anymore, all right? But AI has changed everything. I just told you at the top of the episode, I just built the Rose Council, all right? AI is changing everything. It's changing how people buy. It's changing how they travel. It's changing how they choose services, how they choose products. It's changing how they compare their competitors. It's changing how they build trust before ever speaking to a human. And whether you are a restaurant in Trinidad or Jamaica or St. Lucia, wherever, if you are not findable in this new layer, you are forgettable. So remember this, AI doesn't make the sale, it makes the shortlist. And if you're not even on the shortlist, then someone else is. And that someone might be 2,000 miles away, but still cashing in on your customers' attention, their trust, and their dollars. I know the infrastructure feels like a tall mountain to climb, trust and believe. I know because I'm going through it with you, right? And I know the mindset shift takes some time. I've been fortunate that my shift happened in 2016, right? Happened at a very good time because now I'm cashing in now, but it is what it is. You start with where you were at, right? And now I'm in Asia and I'm watching the way that people research, plan, and buy. And the businesses that show up are the ones that are growing. I'm seeing businesses that were small and they've grown. They've grown. Matter of fact, one of the dispensaries I go to, very cool vibes, very chill. I meet a lot of people there and whatnot. In the 10 months I've been here in Thailand, they opened up an entire new coffee shop lounge right next door to it. So they bought the place immediately connected to it, and they've now converted, and they have this huge, big lounge. So like one half is like dispensary, the other half is a coffee spot that also sells alcohol, right? And is a lounge that has a big screen projector to play PS5. And listen, they have a whole little ecosystem. So now I don't even think about Starbucks to go and do work or to unwind. I'll just go by the coffee shop and chill out. And because it's in a plaza that is connected to like a bunch of other restaurants, and like you have everything right there. You have food. It's walkable. It's about a 15-minute walk, so I get a nice little walk. Or I could just take my my free shuttle from my condo, and it's a 1-minute drive from the shuttle, and it drops me off in front of the plaza. But now I don't even think about Starbucks because, for one, I'm connected to all the food places that are very affordable. I'm in a nice lounge environment and I'm meeting so many like minded people in that spot. All right. So, yeah. Whew. And in that moment, I lost my train of thought. But anywho, I say all that to say, this is the moment for Caribbean entrepreneurs that we really we got to kick things in gear. And I don't know how many more years we're going to continue to say that, right? This is where we have to stop performing marketing, and we really need to start doing marketing. What I mean by that is we like the headlines. We like to get on LinkedIn. We like to get on social media, and we like to talk about marketing or all the things that we are doing. But you rarely ever get to see them actually doing it, right? So we get people that jump on social media and talk about, the importance of a website and the importance of SEO, but then the people that are talking about it, they themselves don't even have it. So we're performing when we get on social media, right? We're not actually doing a lot of the things that we should be doing. But again, that's a whole different thing. We also need to stop waiting to go viral, right? We also need to stop setting virality as a metric or as a goal to go by. Forget about that. We need to focus on building sustainable ecosystems of value. And this is where we stop saying AI isn't for us, and we start asking, how can we use AI to ensure that the rest of the world finds us so that we can start doing business in countries around the world? Because when we show up with the right content, the right structure, and the right intent, AI doesn't just surface us, it sells for us, it scales us, and it shifts us from being regional players to global competitors. And that is where, if we have any chance, if you have any hope, if you want any hope of us to really turn the fortunes of the Caribbean around, we need to start figuring out really quickly. I know I just gave you a whole episode of what you need to do. We need to start doing these things, because when we can be found, we have all the logistics partners. Hello, there's DHL in the country and you're not the one paying for delivery. Your customers are going to pay for delivery. But if you built up your brand the right way, people will buy from you from anywhere in the world. And stop thinking that, cost is a factor. Listen, I don't care about costs. When I want something, I want it. Whether I could afford it is a different question. And if I can't afford it today, but I really want it, I'm going to save for it. When I want something from the other side of the world and they're telling me 60, 70 US for shipping, if I want it, I want it. Because not everything is going to be found where I'm at, right? So don't put these limitations on yourself that nobody's going to want to buy your product or who's going to pay for shipping. Your customers are going to pay for shipping. And if you've done your job, they don't care what the shipping cost is. They're going to buy it. Food for thought. Anyways, hope you enjoyed episode 193. If you did, please don't forget to like the podcast. If you're listening in on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, drop a like on the podcast or drop a review if you really enjoyed the podcast. Don't forget the comments, the reviews. These things all help to continue to grow the podcast all across the world and build the Digipreneur FM family, right? You could also listen to us on YouTube. Check us out on YouTube. Drop your comments on YouTube as well. I read the comments. We try to make sure that all the content is good and everything that you need to do what you got to do, right? You can follow me on any social media platform at KERONROSC, Keron Rose, on all social media platforms. Don't forget to check out the Digipreneur FM, Digipreneur.fm website to stay up to date with the podcast, and check out KeronRose.com to learn more about building your digital presence and monetizing your platforms. Every single Tuesday, I'm on CNC3 at 7 o'clock in the morning with the Digipreneur segment, and then we repurpose the episode on social media. YouTube channel as well. And then on every Wednesday, I'm in the Jamaica Observer with our column, and Thursday is the Digipreneur inside of the Trinidad and Tobago Newsday. And then every single Friday from 12 p.m. to 3 p.m. on Atlantic Standard Time, I'm on the Digital World. Digital World is my show that happens on Freedom 106.5 FM, right? So you guys get a lot of content from me. Anyways, podcasts. I know I've been bad when it comes to my podcasting. I've been neglectful. I've been neglectful. Trust me, man. Trust me. I'm coming. I'm gearing up. I'm gearing up. The podcast is a huge part of what I want to do moving forward, and I'm finding new ways to build my brand and integrate all of my platforms together. So don't you worry. I know many of you love the podcast and love listening to it, and I know I've been neglectful. You've been getting content from me in other areas, but I know what the podcast means for you because guess what? It's the podcast you put on when you're driving to work. It's the podcast you listen to when you're in the gym or when you're cooking or when you're just doing stuff, right? You're just doing stuff. You put the podcast on, your headphones on, you're at work and I'm keeping you company, giving you some good content to keep you going and possibly, build a business, be a digital nomad, whatever the case, whatever you enjoy when you listen to the podcast. But don't worry, man. I'm coming. I'm getting there. This first year in Thailand, I'm gonna end off by saying this. This first year for me in Thailand has really been a personal journey, and it didn't start off that way. I mean, you don't always know what you don't know. And this year turned out to be just this first 10 months of me being in Thailand really turned into be a detox, and it really turned into just me getting my life right. And when I say life, like I mean at 38, what I want is very different at 30, different from 20, right? We're all going through changes in our lives, and I'm figuring out, what does the next couple of years of my life look like, um, getting myself in just in a good mental shape, in a good physical shape, in a good spiritual shape, and just putting myself in the best possible position to be the best version of me. Because if I don't put myself in a situation to be the best version of me, then my kids suffer, my family suffers, the work that I do with the public doesn't happen because I'm stressed out or I'm not, in good physical form. I'm always sick and I can't even live up to the rigors of everything that we do. So if I don't take care of me, then I can't be what I need to be for y'all. And this first year of Thailand, coming September, end of September would be my 1 year mark. This first year has really been just a detox and just a refocus of life and just getting myself together. And like I said, there's so much that I want to share with you on the podcast. There's so much that I want to dive in deep on. There's so many experiences because the podcast is evolving. Not just the podcast, but my entire platforms are evolving. Like it's no longer just going to be about digital marketing or e-commerce and things like that. It's bigger than that now. This Digipreneur brand is bigger than just digital marketing and e-commerce. It's a way of life we're talking about. And it's a new perspective that I think we need to hear from the Caribbean lens or from the North American lens because I spend most of my life in Canada. So all my Canadian brethren and my North American brethren could understand where I'm coming from. But then I spent the last 10 years in Trinidad and Tobago, in my home country, and I understand what's happening in the region and what we need and how we can leverage the global opportunities. So my brand is evolving to not just talk about marketing and e-commerce. My brand is evolving to show you the digital opportunities, right? Really being a digital entrepreneur. I really want to show you the digital opportunities that we could leverage, not just in the Caribbean, globally, right? Which is why, since I've really started to really open up about just my journey on the digital nomad side, on moving to Thailand, and just a lot of things that I'm going through, or what I'm witnessing, or what I'm seeing, or just comparisons and contrasts and whatnot. The conversations have really hit, and the quality and the depth of the responses I get on the content are very, very different. This year in particular. And again, I think right now what we need to see new opportunities. We need to see a new way of living, whether it's locally, because again, not everybody has to move. And we talk about many of the opportunities that you can tap into right from the region, right? I was in Trinidad and I did everything from Trinidad, right? And I showed everybody how I was doing it from Trinidad. Now this is just another stage of my life where I'm able to travel. I wanted to be poured back into. I want to be inspired. I want to see new things. I want to see how the best in the world are doing things within my space, within my remit. And I can now take that information and take all my experiences and now share that back to our people in our region and give you a window and a framework to now leverage and tap into the digital opportunities. And, again, I just really want you to understand, what types of things that we can do as a region. All right. So that's a bit about where my platform and where my brands are evolving to. And it's again, this year has been, just a discovery year, right? This is as much. I want to say that this is one of those years where you take 2 steps back to move 5 steps forward, but it doesn't even feel like we took steps back. It just feels like, we took steps forward, and now we're at an inflection point where, I'm getting older. What I want out of my life is different. How I see things is different. What I'm experiencing is really incredible stuff, and how I want to serve the region is different today than what it was a year ago. All right, so thank you for sticking with me. Thank you for growing with me, and there's just so much more that I'm going to be doing and wanting to share with you. So again, I thank you for keeping it locked in. I'll see y'all in the next episode, and again, there's going to be so much more to come. Thank you for tuning in, and take care.
You've been listening to the Digiboss, Keron Rose. We hope your notepad was filled after this episode. Make sure to like, rate, and review the show. The learning doesn't stop, folks. And to make sure you don't miss any gems from the Digiboss, go over and follow him on all social media platforms at Keron Rose. Folks, don't just sit there with a notepad. We need you to implement at least one thing into your business before the next episode. That's the only way your business levels up. Thanks for listening to Digipreneur FM. Now go be great.